If everything in your life feels harder than it should, it may not be because you're doing something wrong. It may be because you're pushing when life is asking you to soften. Tonight, let's talk about how effort can become quieter and progress can feel more natural. Many of us have learned to live as if life must always be a struggle, as if effort is only valuable when it hurts, as if ease means weakness, as if anything that comes naturally cannot be meaningful. So we push, we force, we swim against the current, even when we are already tired. And often, we exhaust ourselves trying to achieve things that might have come more gently if we had learned how to move with life instead of against it. Tonight, let's talk about how to move from tension to something quieter, more natural, more sustainable. Most tension in life doesn't come from circumstances themselves. It comes from our relationship to them. We carry rigid ideas about how things should be, how fast progress should happen, how people should behave, how we should feel by now. And when reality doesn't match these expectations, we resist, we push harder, we tighten, we try to bend life to our will, and that resistance is what creates the feeling of struggle. Change doesn't begin with giving up. It begins with a different kind of acceptance. Not passive acceptance, not resignation, but active acceptance. The kind that quietly says, "This is what is happening in my life right now. How can I work with this instead of fighting it?" Think of a sailor. A skilled sailor doesn't fight the wind. They don't curse it for blowing the wrong way. They adjust the sails. They use the wind, whatever direction it comes from, to move forward. This doesn't mean abandoning goals. It doesn't mean becoming passive. It means learning to move toward what matters, in harmony with reality, instead of in constant resistance to it. When we live this way, we become more sensitive to timing, to energy, to subtle signals that tell us when to act and when to wait. We learn the difference between effort that builds and effort that drains, because not all effort is equal. When we force ourselves to work while exhausted, to be creative while depleted, to make decisions while overwhelmed, we create internal tension. And that tension reduces clarity, creativity, and effectiveness. But when we respect our natural rhythms, when we allow rest, when rest is needed, energy begins to return on its own. Not dramatically, quietly. Everything in nature moves in cycles. Day and night, growth and stillness, expansion and contraction. There is a time to act, and a time to pause, a time to speak, and a time to listen, a time to push forward, and a time to let things ripen. Wisdom is not constant action. Wisdom is sensing which phase you are in and responding accordingly. Sometimes the most intelligent action is waiting, not out of fear, but out of trust. Trust that clarity improves with time, that some things cannot be rushed without breaking. Strategic waiting is not laziness, it's precision. This applies everywhere. In relationships, it's knowing when to speak honestly and when simply to be present. In creative work, it's knowing when to push through resistance and when to step back and let ideas mature. In personal growth, it's knowing when to challenge yourself and when to offer compassion instead. This way of living makes life lighter without making you passive, more effective without making you aggressive, more successful without making you tense. When we stop fighting circumstances and begin cooperating with them, something changes. Obstacles soften, Opportunities appear where we didn't see them before. What once felt like a dead end sometimes turns out to be a door. When we live in constant struggle, we carry the belief that something is always missing, that we must suffer for our share. But when we align with natural rhythms, effort becomes quieter, more focused, more efficient. Small actions begin to produce meaningful results, not because we worked harder, but because we worked with reality instead of against it. So how do we begin living this way? One simple practice is learning to pause, to step back from constant doing and return to stillness, just briefly. Like music, life needs pauses to make sense. This doesn't require changing your life. It can be as simple as taking 3 slow breaths before checking your phone in the morning, or pausing before a meeting to sense what kind of presence is needed. A pause before action often changes the quality of the action itself. In a world addicted to immediate reaction, the pause becomes a form of wisdom. Not everything needs an instant response. Not every problem needs to be solved right now. In the space between stimulus and response, clarity lives. Another practice is building a relationship with time. Modern life treats time like an enemy, something to conquer. But time has its own rhythms. There are seasons when energy flows outward, toward action, connection, creation, and seasons when energy turns inward, toward reflection, rest, restoration. Fighting these phases creates exhaustion. Respecting them creates grace. You still move forward, but the journey feels lighter. You may notice that some conversations go better at certain times of day, that your creativity appears more easily in certain rhythms, that forcing progress often delays it. This awareness is not weakness, it's alignment. And alignment is what turns effort into flow. Tonight, you don't need to stop trying, you just need to stop fighting. Let effort become quieter. Let timing matter. Let pauses exist. Life doesn't ask for constant struggle. It asks for attention and cooperation. This has been Evening Reset. Quiet wisdom for tired people. If you'd like more evenings like this, and you're welcome to come back, good night.